Hello, everyone. My name is Seth, and today I'm going to be giving you a recap and breakdown of the Oscars. As you can see, I'm still traveling, so I'm sorry I don't have my statue with me. I don't have my suit available, but this is still the biggest night for movies. This is the Super Bowl of movies. So, of course, I had to talk about it. I want to break it down, give you all of the winners, give you my thoughts on the winners. But before we go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Share this video around with any friends or family. It could really help the channel grow and would absolutely make my day. Before we jump into the winners, I want to give you a couple of interesting tidbits about the nominations this year. Sinners broke the all-time record for most nominations with 16. The previous record was 14. It was held by 3 films: Titanic, All About Eve, and La La Land. And Warner Brothers, which produced Sinners, also tied the record, their own record that they set in 2005. They tied that record for the most nominations from a studio. And as a whole, on the night, Warner Brothers walked away with 11 total Oscars. So if you saw my video about them selling to Paramount, that is kind of a big deal that they walked away with 11 Oscars in 1 year. The next thing I saw that I thought was very interesting was that Timothée Chalamet became the youngest actor since Marlon Brando to be nominated for acting awards 3 times. And another thing is that Timothée Chalamet also became the youngest person to ever be nominated for acting and producing in a single year. If you watch my channel, you know for quite a while with Dune, with Wonka, just with Marty Supreme, I am a big Timothée Chalamet fan. I think he's an incredible talent, and I'm super excited to see where his career goes from here. Wagner Moura became the first Brazilian nominated for Best Lead Actor, and Stellan Skarsgård became the first actor nominated for Best Supporting Actor in a non-English film. Another thing is the incredible costume designer Ruth E. Carter became the most nominated African-American woman across any category. Let's start with Best Picture. Best Picture was One Battle After Another. So not only did One Battle After Another walk away with the biggest award of the night, they also walked away with the most awards. They had 6 on the night. And if you don't know, this is a film directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro's in this, Tiana Taylor. And I'm not going to give you my full thoughts on the film. I do have a review, so you can go back and check it out. I'm going to link it in the description below. I'm going to link my reviews for all of these films in the description below. So if you're interested on my full thoughts on these films, check out the description. But the vast majority of critics and audiences loved One Battle After Another. Long story short, I'm not one of them. It did not hit for me. To be honest, on my list, and go check out my Letterboxd, it is in last place of the films that I saw last year. I really, really did not like this film. Just about nothing worked for me. I really, really did not like the Minecraft movie, but I would rather watch that like 15 more times than watch One Battle After Another again. So if I was in charge, I would give it to Sinners. I think Sinners was the best film of the year last year. It's just an incredible character drama set in Mississippi in the 1920s. You get some really great character work. It's a great story before you even throw the vampires in there. You care about the characters, and then the horror feels more real to you because you care about the characters. And then, of course, we got incredible performances all throughout that film. So I would have given Best Picture to Sinners. So even though I don't see what everybody else seems to see in One Battle After Another, I'm glad that their hard work is getting rewarded, and good for them, good for Paul Thomas Anderson. Next, we have Actor in a Leading Role, and that award goes to Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. The list of nominees for this year are just incredibly talented actors. You have guys like Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme and Leonardo DiCaprio, Ethan Hawke, Wagner Moura. But I think that this is the correct choice. Michael B. Jordan had the really tough task of playing identical twins. It could have been easy just to kind of play them both relatively the same, but he didn't do that. He added a lot of little details to each performance, and you can tell which twin is who based on the way that they carry themselves, based on the way that they speak. I would say this is absolutely a truly masterful performance by Michael B. Jordan, and this is his first win on his first nomination. Next is actress in a leading role, and that is won by Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Once again, this is a list of incredibly talented actresses, and I'm going to be honest, I mean, shame on me for not getting around to seeing these films, but I actually haven't seen any of the films that are represented here in this category. I think for something like an acting category or some of the other technical categories, that's something that rarely ever happens for me. You also had Emma Stone, Rose Byrne, Kate Hudson, Renee Revis. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. So I don't have a ton to say here other than from all of the clips I've seen, it looks like Jessie Buckley gives a very good, strong, emotional performance. Next, I want to talk about actor in a supporting role. The winner is Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. And I have to say, mostly because his performance was one of the things that didn't work for me in One Battle After Another. I want to be honest, it is one of the most bizarre, strange, just overall bad performances I've ever seen. And so if I was in charge, I would not be giving Sean Penn the Oscar for this. I probably would give this to Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein. He just gave a really humanizing and emotional performance as Frankenstein's monster. And it's the best performance I have seen from Jacob Elordi, but also I wouldn't have complained if Delroy Lindo for Sinners got it. Next, we have actress in a supporting role, and that was won by Amy Madigan for Weapons. This is the first acting performance in a straightforward horror film to get nominated since Rosemary's Baby in 1968. And I think this absolutely was the right choice. She gave such a commanding, creepy, haunting performance that stuck with me for a while after seeing Weapons. And another thing is Amy Madigan, with this win, now sets the record for the longest gap between nominations for an actress. Animated feature film goes to K-Pop Demon Hunters, and K-Pop Demon Hunters was, in my opinion, one of the best films of the year, not just best animated films. I would say that K-Pop Demon Hunters probably deserved to get nominated for Best Picture as well. The animation was absolutely stunning. All of the songs, absolute bangers. I listen to the album like once a week. My wife and I have a friend whose daughter is absolutely obsessed with K-Pop Demon Hunters right now, and I completely get it. The story is unique. I think it has a great message for kids, and the characters are a lot of fun. This is just honestly one of the best films of the year. Next, we have a brand new category, which is casting. And I think this is a category that should have already been around. Casting directors have such an important job. They really help to shape the film. So having this award at the Oscars is long overdue, just like having stunts as an Oscar is long overdue. Thankfully, that will also be added here, I think, in the next couple of years. But the casting Oscar goes to One Battle After Another. The casting director there was Cassandra Koukoundis. I would say I think this film did have a good cast, but again, if I was in charge, I probably would have given it to Sinners or Mari Supreme. The Oscar for cinematography goes to Autumn Durald Artpaw for Sinners. Sinners is just an incredibly beautiful film to look at. The use of camera movements, color, wide shots, close-ups, and everything in between had meaning and purpose. You can tell a lot of time and effort went into making this film look beautiful, but also be able to tell the story through the cinematography. I think this is another one that the Academy got right. The Oscar for costume design goes to Kate Hawley for Frankenstein, and I mean, just kind of look at the film, yeah, like Frankenstein definitely deserved this Oscar. I think you can make an argument for Ruth Carter with Sinners, but I just really love the costume design for Frankenstein. The costumes have a ton of detail, and I think one of the most impressive things about that is you can tell what character is who based on their silhouette, based off their costume. The Oscar for directing goes to Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. And again, I've said my thoughts on One Battle After Another. I don't necessarily think this was a particularly well-directed film either. For me, I would give this to Ryan Coogler for Sinners. What Ryan Coogler was able to do with Sinners was incredibly impressive. His fingerprint is all over that film. I also think Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme did a very, very good job with that film as well. The Oscar for film editing goes to Andy Jurgensen for One Battle After Another. And again, I'm kind of sounding like a broken record. I didn't like One Battle After Another, and the editing is not an exception to that. I just didn't really think that the film flowed well. Part of that's the directing, part of that's the script, part of that is the editing. And to me, I almost felt like there were a couple of editing mistakes in it. And I think you probably could have cut like 20 minutes off of that film. To me, I would have given the Oscar for Best Editing to Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme had this chaotic energy all throughout this film, and it never got oppressive and never got tiring. Part of that is on the editing. The editing helped that film just soar along. It was a little bit of a longer film, but it didn't feel like it at all. But the edit for Marty Supreme never lets the chaos of the characters and the story creep into the edit. The Oscar for makeup and hairstyling went to Mike Hill, Jordan Samuel, and Cleona Fury for Frankenstein. And this is kind of a no-brainer for me. Frankenstein absolutely deserved this. I think all you have to do is take a look at the makeup they did on Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein's monster. They took this monster, this character that we all know. It is in pop culture, it is in film and TV. Everybody knows Frankenstein, but they gave him a fresh and new look that worked, but was still recognizably Frankenstein's monster. The Oscar for Best Original Score goes to Ludwig Göransson for Sinners, and I think this is an absolute fantastic choice. This is another one I think the Academy got right. I absolutely love this score. I will still listen to the score on Spotify every once in a while. It's just a very bluesy inspired score, and I really love the story that he told about his dad, even growing up in Sweden, finding and connecting with blues music. And to me, I think he has cemented himself as one of the best modern film composers. This is his third win. He previously won for Black Panther and for Oppenheimer, and there's a good chance he might win again for The Odyssey. Best Original Song, I think this is another no-brainer. It's Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters. Like I said earlier, the K-Pop Demon Hunters soundtrack, all of the songs are absolute bangers. Like I could listen to that album on repeat all the time. If you have children or know friends who have children, you have definitely heard Golden. This song is everywhere. Kids love this song. I love this song. I think lyrically and musically, this song is just awesome. It works. Once you hear it, kind of gets stuck in your brain, it just rattles around and you just hum the chorus over and over again. Golden 100% deserves this award, and I love the performance they had at the Oscars. The Oscar for Best Sound goes to F1. This is another one where I completely agree with the Academy. Something like F1, if it's done right, it is kind of Oscar bait for sound, and it was absolutely done right. The Oscar for Best Visual Effects goes to Avatar: Fire and Ash. And again, I think this is another award that is kind of an obvious one. If there's an Avatar movie, it's going to be nominated and it's going to win for Best Visual Effects. Now, I'm not the biggest Avatar fan. I'm not the biggest fan of the story. I don't connect to the characters. It's just kind of whatever. Like I don't care. I've tried. I can't care. But one thing I do care about is every time they release a film, they do something that pushes forward visual effects. And so that's why every time we have an Avatar film, it's going to win the Oscar for Best Visual Effects. The Oscar for Best Production Design goes to Frankenstein, and this is another one where I completely agree with the Academy. Even though I loved the production design for Sinners, just looking at the over-the-top gothic style of Frankenstein. It was just done so well. It was executed perfectly. And if you have a director with a vision like Guillermo del Toro, there's a decent chance your film is going to be nominated for Best Production Design. The Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay goes to One Battle After Another, written by Paul Thomas Anderson. And again, I don't think the script was very strong. I would give this to Frankenstein. I don't think that the characters were likable at all in One Battle After Another. I think they were actually actively dislikable. The story didn't flow. The comedic beats weren't funny to me. However, with Frankenstein, I think this is a beautiful and emotionally rich story that just about perfectly adapts the original source material. The Oscar for Best Original Screenplay goes to Ryan Coogler for Sinners. I totally agree with this one. The film had such a cool idea to begin with. You take vampires and put it in 1920s Mississippi. But like I mentioned earlier, this is an interesting and intriguing character-driven story even before the vampires show up. Vampires is just like the cherry on top. And honestly, the vampires are introduced pretty much flawlessly. The whole film just flows so well, and I think this is an incredibly well-deserved Oscar. Next, I'm going to go through the rest of the winners. These are films and shorts I haven't seen. I don't really have much of a commentary for it, but they deserve recognition as well. The Oscar for Animated Short Film goes to The Girl Who Cried Pearls. The Oscar for Documentary Feature Film goes to Mr. Nobody Against Putin. Documentary for Short Film goes to All the Empty Rooms. The Oscar for International Feature Film goes to Sentimental Value. And this last one is very unique. The Oscar for International Short Film goes to The Singers and Two People Exchanging Saliva. And yes, you heard me right on that last one. I said, and we had a tie. This is only the 7th time in Oscars history that we have had a tie. So overall, One Battle After Another walked away with 6 Oscars. Sinners had 4. Frankenstein had 3. K-Pop Demon Hunters had 2. And there were 10 other films receiving 1 Oscar. So overall, I talked about it in my 2025 recap video, my top 10 of the year. But I think 2025 was such a great year for films. There were even films, something like Superman, that I absolutely loved that didn't get any Oscar recognition. This has just been such a good year for film. I will say I just wish that we had this Oscar ceremony a little bit closer to the beginning of the year, so all of these films and all of the Oscar buzz toward the end of the year can just culminate quickly into the award ceremony. But like I mentioned in my most anticipated films of 2026, 2026 is going to be a big year for films. I think we're going to get a lot of really incredible films, and I think the box office is going to see an impact. This could be a year where we have 4, maybe $5 billion films. It's been a long time since that has happened, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the year has. So that's it. That's my recap of the Oscars. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. If you agree with some of my thoughts, do you disagree? Let me know. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. Also, let me know what you thought the Academy got right and got wrong. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. You can follow me on social media pretty much anywhere at CinemaSeth, and I'll see you next time.